Okay. Mm, so here, okay, cool, super. So refresh. Okay. EMP, how many columns? Ah, so I want to delete this one if I can, please. Okay, cool. So I have created one database employee and I have created one table EMP. Okay. So now simple. How we have step one, step two, step three, step four. Same way we'll follow. Like we'll write one program and we'll execute that. Okay. Okay. So sometimes I will get some issues in the morning. That's what happened today from morning 5. Okay. So this got open now. So my ADO.NET connection oriented program, ADO.NET connection oriented, this one. Now you guys will tell me what are the steps we'll follow the same. So whatever we explained yesterday, the same way we wrote the program here. Simple. What is the step one? See this one. Using system.data and using system.data and using system.data dot using system dot data. Okay. So by default they will come. Okay. 99%. If something happened, if it is not there, then okay. So or else you can use this one also because in previous so some years back that system.data and data.sql client both are different, but most of the features now merged. Okay. So any namespace is fine, but by default you will get it. If you are not getting, you need to declare. So but anyway, see for example, if you are going for some system test or something, if this namespace is not there again, what will happen? So you will get error and all, and you don't, if you don't know to declare this namespace, then what will happen? So simple. So you will feel like, okay, so I missed something. So you even you don't know what is that error and all. So in order to avoid that, I just kept like this. Okay. So step one, so declare namespace. So what is your step two? Create connection with whom? What is your database name? Huh? What is your database name? Employee. So now the problem here is what I will do. I will change the font size 160. Mine only. Evaru? Okay, I'm not sharing my screen. Okay. So I'm so sorry I did not see the messages. I just started sharing my screen. I'll explain one more time. Okay. So step one is what our declare namespace. So by default, 99% will get that namespace. If you don't get that namespace, so we need to declare. That is what our step one. So, online people, what I explained till now. So like in our previous session, we have created one database. The name for our database is employee. And also we have created one table, that is what EMP. So my suggestion always, when you are doing like this, just take a screenshot, because we need to match the spellings and everything. That's the reason. Like this. If you take that, then what will happen? Capital EMPLOYEE. So like that. And also the table name capital EMP, and column names whatever we have declared, same like that. Okay. So, and also people need to remember. So our string in C sharp is what? Varchar in our SQL server. That's what I explained. So now people see here. So people see here. So I have declared two variables. So you people are aware of this one, right? And I have done some typecasting. Done. So, and after that, what I done here, what is our step two? What is our step two? So with whom? So SQL Server database. So what is our database name? So capital E. Done. Okay. So what is this integrated security? So how many ways we can connect to our database? What is that? So Windows authentication, and if we are going with Windows authentication, so no need to give username and password. When you are going with SQL authentication, we have to give a user ID and password. So what happens? Still this line is not breaking. Otherwise, 160, 170 is fine. Okay. Now, okay. So if what will happen? Like, if I'm breaking into two lines, everyone is writing in two lines only. So that is happening from last, like, some 5, 6 years. That is every time is happening. Okay. So data source dot or computer name or localhost, anything is fine. Got it? So, sir, what is this integrated security? When you're going with Windows authentication, so we'll keep integrated security equal to yes or no. So by default, we always keep yes. Okay, keep like that. What is our step three? So, like, open connection. So is one of the method available under which class? SQL connection. What is the syntax for calling a method? So what is my object name here? And what is my method name? Done. What is our step four? So what I done here in my line number 31, I have created one query here. So simple, insert into what is our table name? Okay. So values. So sir, what is this line? Okay. So I don't know, like, if someone is not aware of SQL server, so in our SQL server, we'll pass values with single quotation. Okay. So correct. Like, someone told like they don't have any knowledge on SQL. Just remember for now. Okay. So I will, when you go for SQL server class, definitely you will know that. Okay. Got it. So this is what. So now, sir, what is this one? Bracket, single quotation, double quotation, plus. So all these things. So we'll try to decode this one. Okay. So we'll try to decode here. Insert into table name. Cool. So now what is the output of this one? Can someone tell me? See this one. So if you are trying to write this in console.write line, what will come? Up to here it will print, right? Do you people agree for that? Yes. And after that, whatever the value in this E number, okay? So just think like 101, 101. So again, this plus is for what? Concatenation purpose. So double quote this one. Then what will get? double quote, this one, comma, and single quote, this one. What is the output of this one? Can someone tell me now? Single quotation, comma, single quotation. Yes or no? Now keep here, single quotation, comma, perfect. E name, tell me, Ravi. Okay. So plus again, after that double quote and single quotation. And finally that bracket. Clear? That's it. Okay. Understood everyone? So everyone will get error here only. So 80% of people will get error here. Okay. So if you people want my life easy, then I will tell you tips how to avoid errors. The first one, space between data and source. No space between data and base. Most important, if dot is not working, try with computer name. Okay. So, and also, so before you start that ADO.NET, first create database and table in your SQL server. Okay. Otherwise, the code will be correct and you don't get the output. Even I cannot find that. Okay. So if the names are, if you provide wrong names there, you cannot get the output. Okay. So, and see, this O is capital. Okay. So, so that's what. So, and see, SQL command, SQL connection, S is capital and C is capital. Remember them. Okay. So, there are not rocket science or something. Console dot write line, write W capital, L capital. Same way, S capital and C capital. In C sharp, I told you people in the beginning of our sessions, like, so the first word always will be capital. Okay. Okay. That's why. It's framework by default. They design framework like that. Later here, see here, sir, you told you passed the query here in our demo session, and now you are making query here. Simple. I'm storing that query output in one variable and I'm passing that. That's it. So I'm passing my query to whom? My connection. So where is my connection stored now? CON object. Yes or no? Got it? Clear for everyone? So after that, we can execute in three ways. Scalar, reader, non-query. So currently we are inserting our data. That means scalar, right? Scalar or non-query or reader? Insert, update, delete. We'll use what? That's why we are using there. Okay. And finally, what is our last step? Done. Okay. Now I will execute the program so that I will also get 10 minutes of time. So, sir, your screen is not visible. I hope visible for everyone now. Okay. So enter employee number 101. This is not working. Why? My keyboard is not working or number lock I kept, but still. Okay. 101. All the things will happen at one time only. Okay. Employee name. Who is that lucky person today? Ravi only. Always Ravi Teja. Records inserted successfully. Okay. So now we'll just go to our SQL server and we'll just check whether those records inserted or not. Okay. So select star from table name. What is table name? But SQL server is case sensitive. No, it's not a case sensitive. Our like HTML only. So we got it right. So your friend Venkat and you are there in the database now. Okay, got it. So clear for everyone. So any questions here? Anyone want me to explain one more time? Simple. What are the steps we discussed on our Saturday class? Same. So 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 you people may get confused or something. That's the reason. Here, step one, step two, step three, like that. Whatever we explained there, the same way we mentioned here. Got it? Clear for everyone? Okay, please note down. You guys are clear with ADO.NET. So this is a sample program. So the same way we'll move towards, like, the same approach will follow in our ASP.NET Windows Forms, MVC, Web API and everywhere. Okay. Scroll. Hmm. Okay. Done. So this is what a sample program. For example, if you want to add few more fields, then what you will do? You will create few more fields in our SQL server, and also you will create, you know, when you're passing the data, you will add that plus symbol and single quotation, and you will add few more things. That's it. Okay. Then you can save multiple values also. So first try with two fields only. Later try to increase some 4 or 5 fields. Okay. So then what will happen, like, when you reach to your Windows Forms and MVC ASP.NET, so this that will become so easy for you guys. Because what? So you will have some 20 fields or something, and you will save into database that time when you are using with ASP.NET. Okay, got it? Okay, so this is what connection oriented architecture. So one more time, we'll just do revision, and we'll move to our next one. So see, connection oriented architecture. So we have two types of application: front end application and back end application. Front end and back end application cannot communicate directly. So that is why we are going for ADO.NET concept. Okay, active database object. Okay, so by using ADO.NET, we can provide communication between front end and back end application. So what is front end application? Like, your user interface, which we can see, look and feel of your website. Back end application. So now your SQL. So we are saving the values. Okay. So I have my SQL credentials. That is why I'm opening, and I'm like, select star from table name. I'm keeping like that. I'm getting values. But originally, what will happen? So people will not have access to your SQL server. So SQL server is the place where we'll store the values. Okay, that is why it is called as backend. Okay, got it. So that is what your front end and back end done. So now, first of all, before working with our SQL server, so we have to connect with our SQL server. So there I have explained like server name. The first one is what? Server name. Server name, we can give three, either dot, computer name, or local host. Okay. After that, the second one is authentication. What is authentication? It is a process of checking user ID and password. Okay. So we have two types of authentication: Windows authentication, SQL authentication. So by using Windows authentication, we don't need to give user ID password. By default, it will take from where? So your computer login. Okay. SQL authentication means you need to give user ID and password. So which one you need to give means at the time of installation of your SQL server, you have specified some credentials. Those things you need to give. Got it? So done. So now, so once you log in into your SQL server, just create database by right clicking on database folder, new database, and just keep some name. After that, so expand a database folder. There you will find table option. So try to create table, and your table consists of two things. One is rows and columns. So try to create the table. Done. That is also done. So now your next step. So coming back, come back to your C sharp. Here, just try to write the program. So in order to work with connection oriented architecture, we have some steps. So the step one, declare namespace. Okay. So declare namespace. So we have two types of namespaces here. Okay. So we have two types of namespaces available. So one is using system and using system.data, using system.data and using system.data SQL client. Okay. So our using system.data.SQL client consists of two predefined classes. So one is SQL connection class and SQL command class. So SQL connection class. So SQL connection class is used to establish connection between our front end and so our SQL server. So that is why we will pass the connection string there. Okay. Our step two is so create connection with whom our database. Okay. So step three, open the connection. Step four, pass the query. So for passing the query, we have one more class called SQL command. Okay. There you need to pass the query to whom your database again. So your database temporarily stored in your connection string. So that is what your con object. Okay. So after that, execute query. So we have three predefined methods for executing query. One is execute scalar, execute reader, execute non-query. Scalar, if you are dealing with one record, go for scalar. Reader, more than one record, like rows or columns or table information. And finally, so execute non-query for insert, update, delete, and kind of operations. We'll go with what? Execute non-query. Okay. So this is what we have discussed till now. Okay. So execute scalar and reader. So few programs we'll discuss in our Windows Forms, and few programs we'll discuss in our ASP.NET. Okay. So before that, so we have few drawbacks with our connection oriented architecture. Okay. We have few drawbacks with our connection oriented architecture. What is that? The first one. So by using connection oriented architecture, what will happen, so you can access the data in forward only direction. You will not get the data in reverse direction. That's the first point. Second point, so when you open the connection and fail to close the connection, then what will happen, so if the if number of open connections got increased, then burden on the database will increase. Okay. So then it may leads to performance issues. Okay. It may leads to performance issues. So that is also one drawback. And one more drawback is there. So that is what, so we are storing, when I click on enter there, or when I click on insert there, directly the values are storing in your master database, original database. Okay. So so it may leads to few, insecurity, or hackers, we are giving some chance to hackers or something. Okay. So all these things can be avoided by using one more concept called disconnection oriented architecture. So before we move into disconnection oriented architecture, I'll give you The drawbacks here. So these are the drawbacks with our, you know, connection oriented architecture. Cool. So see here, in connection oriented architecture, we have open the connection and close the connection. If user open the connection and fails to close the connection, the database will be maintained. So the network traffic will be increased and performance will be decreased. So SQL data reader class, it reads the data forward only direction. That means top to bottom. We cannot read the data in bidirectional. So how to overcome that? So in our disconnection oriented architecture, we have few more programs there. I'll explain maybe tomorrow session. So our tomorrow session, so like so few differences only. Whatever the step six up to step six you have. So in the step six steps, you will remove the third step and sixth step. Open and closing will not be there. So they will be taken care by one more class automatically. So how it is, I will explain. So again, disconnection will be some more steps and different steps or something. Don't worry. So they are also same steps only with different approach. That's it. So connection oriented architecture will directly communicate with what? Original database. Okay. So we cannot store the data in temporary memory or something. By using disconnection oriented architecture, what I will do? So I'll create one data set, a temporary database, a temporary data table or something. There I will store the data temporarily and I can pass the data from the temporary data set to my database. That means, so we will not communicate with original database there. So by using disconnection oriented architecture, how can we achieve that? We'll see that. But before that, please note down the drawbacks. Like, you will retrieve data, you will insert data, both the ways. So we'll see that how we will do that. We'll see that we'll see in our MVC. Yeah, we can. Who told? But in our by using C sharp, you will never learn all those things because so ADO.NET is basics are required in C sharp. So I yesterday I mentioned we have four levels. The level one sample program, whatever we have seen today. So level two, so we'll go with a different approach of connection string. Level three, stored procedure. So level four, entity framework. Okay, so it's too early. So just we need to have knowledge and by using Windows Forms and console application, we need to have knowledge. That's it. For now, that is enough. So in ASP.NET, you can try with stored procedure. Okay, so without UI and all, we cannot try. Actually, most of the people don't teach ADO.NET for C sharp because without UI, how can we store the values and all? But okay, we can go with console application. That's why I have given example. Okay. Then also no problem. It will work. So when when you're registering in your Facebook, we don't know whether they open their SQL server or not, right? Okay. So it's not like if you so see, I'm closing now. Okay. So now I will run this program one more time. Check here. So enter employee number one or two. This time will change. Now tell me the name change. Sneha. Who is that Sneha? Records inserted successfully. Okay. So if you open our SQL server, so we can get them there. Just kidding. Okay, got it. Done with the drawbacks. So make it fast. So we have so many things in our disconnection oriented architecture. There we'll see scalar related program, reader related programs, and other programs also. Okay. So tomorrow also we'll give a sample program, but so after that we'll come back to our C sharp, normal C sharp. So some 7 8 topics are there. Once we done, then we'll go for Windows Forms. There again we'll see ADO.NET one more time. Okay, with not like 3 hours of explanation or something, like some half an hour explanation, and after that we'll see couple of examples on it. Okay. Okay. Just thank you. Yeah, actually, for Naresh, I think. For asking more questions. Okay, done. Okay, fine. Thank you all for coming and joining. We'll meet tomorrow. So we'll discuss about disconnection oriented. Thank you all for staying up to end of the session. So many people are leaving in the middle only.